Welcome to the Middleware Tech YouTube channel. In this series, you'll learn about Python Constructor. Null code examples used in the videos will be available on GitHub. Let's get started.
It's not giving any problem. It's okay. It's taking as a string. That's why.
Amit,
Okay.
Sorry to
Yes,
interrupt
please.
you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, could you please explain that constructor def underscore init underscore self?
Okay. Okay. Got it. Now, in this example, we have used a constructor. This one. Okay. So let me tell some points about this constructor. I'm not. Now, in this class. So inside a class, I should have a constructor and a method. In this class, I have a method and a constructor. The thing is, the difference is that constructor is used, this is a constructor. Constructor is used to initialize an object attribute. So I'm talking about constructor. So if I want to say one first point is that constructor is used to initialize object, first point, or object attribute, first point about constructor. In this example, my constructor name is this. This is the name of the constructor. Second point. Constructor name is this. This is the constructor name. It's predefined.
Oh, for constructor, we have to initialize, we have to follow this one only, underscore init underscore.
Yes, yes. It's predefined. Anything you find in any variable you find with this type of syntax, underscore underscore init underscore underscore, like this we will find lots of syntax in Python. Anywhere in Python, if you find this type of syntax, underscore underscore variable underscore underscore, these are predefined.
Okay.
Anywhere in Python you find. These are predefined.
Underscore underscore is common, but we can change init instead
Yes.
of.
Yes, you can have anything else. You will have some main also.
Okay,
I'll come into those things step by step. So it's a predefined.
Okay.
The name of the constructor is this.
Okay.
Now, what is the use of this constructor? This constructor is used to initialize instance variable. Now, I have not told you what are the different variables is there. For the time, I'm going to say that the variable that you have declared inside a constructor, these variables are called instance variables, emp id, emp name, email. So another point I want to say, variable declared inside the constructor is called instance variable. Variable declared inside the constructor is called instance variable. So in this example, emp id, emp name, and emp email, this three is an instance. Its name is instance variable. Okay. Now the thing is that if I'm getting a construct, now I'm saying this is a constructor. It's fine. So can I have more argument in the constructor? Yes, I can have more argument. I can have emp id also. Argument. I can have emp name also. I can have emp cell also, or emp email also. I can have more argument inside a constructor, but if I'm writing a constructor, I should or a constructor should take at least one argument, that is self. I cannot remove this self from the constructor. So that is another one point. If I am going to write a constructor, that constructor should take at least one argument, that is self. Okay, so another one point I want to say, like constructor should take at least one argument, that is at least one argument it should take, that is given. Can I have more than one argument also? Okay, now another one properties about constructor is that I'm not given in this example. If I'm not providing a constructor, then Python virtual machine will provide the default constructor for us. If I'm not providing a constructor inside a class, okay, then Python virtual machine will provide the default constructor for us. Okay, as for example, let's see, I want to do some changes into this code, whatever it is. I do not here, Control C. I want to do some changes after this line. Same code, slight change I want to do. See here. Okay. Same code I want to do slight change. I don't want to take the input. This is my constructor. Okay, and empid equal to empid. Just slight change I'm doing. empid will come from here. Okay, and emp name equal to emp name. emp email equal to emp email. Okay, now here this variables I want to take it from here. emp name, emp email. Now see, this is a constructor also, and this constructor is a 3-argument constructor. It is not a default constructor. It is not a default constructor, a 3-argument constructor, right? You can have 3-argument constructor, and you can have default constructor also. Okay. 3-argument constructor, right? So it's a 3-argument constructor. Okay. Or it can have a default constructor also. In case of default constructor, you don't have, okay, no argument here. This is a default constructor. Okay. Like this, you can say define a default constructor, like, right? So you can have a default constructor, you can have a parameterized constructor also. Okay, so that is the point. So another one point.
One more thing, you said that there are two types of constructors. So what is the purpose? Here also we are defining the parameters, and there also we are defining the arguments.
Here we giving a variable as the argument to the constructor.
Yes, tell me one second, I'm not getting.
Actually, I'm asking, you said that there are two constructors showed, right?
Yes.
One is default and one has other values.
Parameterized constructor.
Parameters. So what are those, and why are we going for this one
instead
of?
I got your point. First point is that assume I don't have this constructor. Assume Control X. Assume. So in this class, I don't have any constructor. Is there any constructor? No. Correct. What is the purpose of constructor? It is used to initialize an object attribute. Fine. I don't have any constructor inside this class. Right? So if I don't have any constructor inside a class, this object will be created. If I don't have any constructor in the class, then the default constructor by default provided by Python virtual machine. I'm coming one by one. So if we don't have any constructor inside the class, then default constructor should be provided by Python virtual machine by default. Fine. Second point is that if I don't have default constructor, I can have parameterized constructor. This is called parameterized constructor. Now, if I am going to use default, constructor, assume this constructor is not there, then this object will be created and that will be initialized with default values. This object will be initialized. This object would be initialized with default value. Fine. Okay. Now, fine. Okay. Now here, I'm given parameterized constructor here. Now this is a parameterized constructor. Now what is the purpose of this constructor? I can create an object of a class using this e equal to emp details, right? I'm passing the argument here. First argument emp id 1002, comma. Second argument is emp name Naveen. Third argument is emp email. That is naveen@gmail.com. Okay. If I don't have a default constructor, this is called parameterized constructor. So I can create an object of employee. This is an employee object. And this employee object will use this parameterized constructor to initialize the object attribute. Fine, right? So this is the purpose of using parameterized constructor, because if you're using this one, it will use default constructor to initialize this object attribute. This is going to use the parameterized constructor to initialize an object attribute. Parameterized constructor to initialize an object attribute. And after that, you can print.
So it won't ask emp details, emp name, and emp emails, right? It directly will print these parameters.
Because I've already given this value.
Yeah, correct.
I've given this value. So this is going to call parameterized constructor, and this is going to call default constructor.
Okay, got it.
Now here, lots of things is there. Just I'm talking about only constructor. Now there is, so let me check whether it is working or not. Let me check. So this is another one example. Let me check it is working or not. So just copy this one and create another one file, emp details. Now see, when you're creating any particular class, that doesn't mean that your file name would be same as the class name in Python. Not required as you, okay. So I can create another one file. Not required that it will be same. I can create another one file, like file, new file. And in this file, you can write Control V. I'll save it.
I got a question. Since when I'm using the parameterized constructor that holds the email address, how do I escape the @ sign between Naveen and Gmail?
Once again, please.
How do I escape the @ sign? When I'm having a look at the constructor emp details, that is parameterized. So you have the emp ID, the emp name, and the emp email. There's an @ sign.
Yeah.
And I got an exception. How do I escape an @ sign?
Okay, I got your point. And the point is that let me tell you what is the point here. Let me tell you. Let me execute and tell you. And this is a particular save. Assume this is my class name is emp details demo. I'll save as emp details demo and save it inside this file emp details demo. Emp details demo. Okay, .py. Okay, fine. Now inside this is a simple class. Fine. This is my parameterized constructor. Save it and assume this right, and let me now see here. And assume you don't have parameterized constructor for the time being. Assume format command out region. Okay, so you have only this method and you have this default constructor. Okay, and just save it and run module. Okay, some space indication problem. The thing is that you have to do that. Enter. Okay. Today I'm not using ID from tomorrow. Okay. Now here, save it. Run.
Yeah, we have to give E equal to emp details demo. Reference.
Oh, yes, here emp details demo. Save it. Okay. Now here, if you see, when I'm using e.emp details demo, it is searching the default constructor, right? But default constructor that I have not given. If I have not given that default, it's searching the default constructor. So Control C. Where this is the default constructor, and the default constructor does not have any value. Correct. Now here, this is my default constructor in this example. Now I'm calling emp details demo. So when I'm calling emp details demo and assume default constructor, I'm going to initialize some value. I'm going to, this is the default constructor, right? gmail.com. Now, this default constructor, I've initialized this value here and file, save it. Let's check the indentations are correct. Yes. Check these indentations are not correct. So file save, and I'm going to compile and run. You must use tab space indentation. Why it is correct only? Oh, it's correct. Save it, run, and module. So just see here. In this example, this is a default constructor that has no argument, and this is manually initialized. Here, when I'm creating an object, this object is calling default constructor. This constructor initialize object attribute, and this is going to print all the attribute value. Right? This is using default constructor. Now, I want to create an object using parameterized constructor. Now, the thing is that if you have multiple constructor in your class, if you have multiple constructor in Python, if you have multiple constructor in your class, the last constructor that you have created, that will get priority. Again, I'm saying Python does not support function overloading. So that's why it does not support the concept of constructor overloading also. So if you have parameterized constructor inside a class, it is working fine. Now, if you have parameterized constructor inside the class, okay, as in this is a parameterized constructor, it is a parameterized constructor. This is a parameterized constructor inside your class. This is a parameterized constructor inside your class. Who is the last constructor? Last constructor or current constructor? Current constructor is this one. Current constructor is this one. Current constructor is this one. This is a current constructor. In that case, no value of writing this default constructor. If you have multiple constructor inside the class, then the current constructor, it will get priority. No use of writing this one. It will not work because Python does not support the concept of constructor overloading. So no use. That's why this code will not run. In that case, it will support this one because this is the current one. This is the current one, right? And this one will work now. File, save, run. I think indentation problem. I think it is correct only. File, save it, run, module. Tab space, email ID itself, email ID equal to email ID. Correct only. File save, run module. What it is saying, EMP details is not defined. Okay, this is an EMP details demo. Save function and module. So just see it is working fine. So we have to remember for constructor that always the current constructor or last constructor will get priority. If you have some other constructor, it will not work. No use of writing something like that, because constructor does not support constructor overloading in Python. So recent constructor will get a priority. So if I'm creating an object using parameterless constructor, then it will not work. It will not work as default constructor. Only this one will work, because the current constructor will get priority in case of Python if I'm going to get any object. Yes, please. That is the
Sorry
rest
to
only.
disturb you, Atil. Actually,
Yes,
the doubt is EMP ID should take int value like 1101. Here we are giving as a string.
Okay.
And yeah, that is the actual doubt. Correct me if I am wrong.
So you can use int only. Int also, no issues. You can assign int, no problem.
Yeah, I guess somebody is asked the same thing.
You can assign int, no issues. If you assign, it will come inside an int EMP ID, right?
Yes, we can.
Yes, please. Any other queries in constructor only? Is it done?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'll do is that I'm not moving next. So what I'll do is that whatever we have done today, just see here, please. Whatever you have done today from morning itself. Just if you want to go with this, today morning we have started our discussion on some basics introduction on Python. I've given some basic introduction on Python today morning. And after that basic introduction, we have gone to discovery part, version part. We have created Python and in which year or the different versions is available of Python, and different flavors of Python like CPython, Jython, IronPython, PyPy, different flavor I talked about. But we are working with CPython today itself. And we spend some time on different important words about Python, like it's simple, it's a object-oriented programming, it is a dynamically typed language, right? It is a scripting programming language, it's about functional programming, it is modularized language, right? We have given some of the input. Next, we have used some Python setup. In the Python setup, we have created the Python setup, and we try to understand how we can execute a Python program in 3 different ways. Okay, and then we moved with we have spent some time on the difference of execution between some basic difference of Java program and Python program, how we can distinguish some of the basic difference we talked about, not in all, based on our current discussion. Then we spent if I'm going to run a particular Python program, so that program we can execute as a process-oriented programming without writing any class and method, a class, and I can execute that Python program as object-oriented programming, where I have to use class concept, an object, and an object of a particular class, I can call a method. So we talked about the 2 approach. I can create a Python program. Okay. And then you moved with data types. There's some basic data type. What are the different basic data type is there in Python. You try to execute one lab on this. Then you spend some time on Python control flow. Some control flow in the else, how I can use if, else, while, for loop, different loops. We spend some time on operators also. Some of the operators we talked about. And then we talked about how we can take command line argument using Python. We have given one small examples to take command line argument using the module sys, right? Okay. And then we have talked about how we can take user input using Python. I've done a small example, I've taken user input, and after that we have spent some time on constructor. What is constructor? Some properties of constructor we talked about. Like constructor is used to initialize an object attribute. Constructor name is this. That so if I have parameter, then we say parameter is constructor. So inside a constructor, if I create any variable, these are called instance variables. So constructor will always use to initialize instance variable inside a class. So if I'm going to create a constructor, then I should have or must have at least one attribute in the constructor. Else, if you're writing parameters constructor, you can add multiple attributes one by one. So constructor should have.
Yeah, sorry to disturb you. Can we declare multiple parameters inside a constructor without declaring the variables? Like in our example, underscore init underscore with parameters. Can we add emp salary instead of defining self.emp sal equal to something?
You're saying in this program, you're saying here something? Okay.
Yeah.
Here you are saying self
down.
salary.
Yes,
here.
yes. Here we are not declaring self.emp salary, but inside our constructor parameters, can we declare emp sal here?
No, you cannot declare emp sal because it's a low. See, the thing is that the parameter that I'm going to pass here, that will come here. Now it will come here. What is the use? Right? The value that came here that I have to initialize inside a variable using self.emp sal equal to this cell, this variable. So whatever parameter I'm going to pass, this parameter will come inside this constant. These values will come actually here, right? Now this value I have to initialize inside a variable. So if I'm going to use emp sal, then I have to use self.emp sal equal to emp sal. I have to use this. That is the main purpose to initialize that I'm going to initialize the salary for my class, because the left side one is the instance variable of my object. That I'm object attribute. So that I'm going to initialize the value that is coming from here.
Okay. Right. So whatever the values declared inside init parameter, we have to declare a variable also.
Yes, I have to declare this variable here also, because this value I have the value that I'm passing here, assume the value I'm passing here salary is this much. Now this value will come inside this variable, and that value will come inside this variable. The left side one is the variable of, you can change this one also. You can change this one as esal, and this esal will come here. Now you can understand. Now this salary will come inside esal, and this esal will be initialized inside emp sal, and this emp sal is an object attribute of our emp details demo, and that I'm going to initialize.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. So these are the things from today. So what I'll suggest is that please go with the labs. I'm not giving any exercise. The labs that I have already done. So just go with this lab, execute those labs based on the recorded video that is in the communication window. Just go with this lab. Just whatever we have done, just do this lab. These are all the basics that we talked about today. Tomorrow we'll talk about something more, right? And do these labs and tell me anyone have any errors. I'll be there on the back end.